We begin here with the, great, you can see them. We begin here with the moon energy here. I do like it. You know, you've got these kind of two skeletal pregnant energies around this compass. There's definitely change. I'm wearing amethyst, I think. No, I'm not. I thought so. I felt like a sudden need for amethyst, but I'm not wearing amethyst. I'm wearing smoky quartz, but I'm going to switch because I need amethyst. So you're reading. Sorry if I'm sounding a bit all over the place and scattered. But yes, there is like, I wouldn't call it hibernation, but the moon card does feel like womb to me for you. You're birthing things in the midst of an ending is really what that is. There may be cycles ending in your life, changes, or it may also just be the present energy of like morbidness or death or misery or challenge in your external environment. And I'm talking socially, politically, and culturally. But it's like, yeah, it's like all the dystopic films I watch, and I always think about like what happens when in these dystopic scenes or these like disaster scenarios, there are people who are pregnant, you know, and that they're carrying life, and there's a deep vulnerability, but there's also a strength and a desire to kind of push on because of that. There is something birthing or coming through, or something that you're creating in your life. For some of you, it'll be a literal baby, but for most of you, this is a metaphor. It reminds me of a quiet place, and also obviously a quiet place too. This idea of being in, yeah, like I said, this card here, the Six of Wands represents to me in this card a hard won fight, or a hard, like as a victory that was hard to gain. There's something about your environment or what you're going through that presents challenge, but somehow you're birthing, you're creating something new and beautiful in a space where most people wouldn't. I was having this conversation with a friend where I was saying to her that I never really understood the idea. You know, when people say that they don't want to bring people in, they don't want to bring children into the world because it's terrible. I never understood it. Maybe because I've always wanted to have children myself, so it's just not. But I was lying in bed and I thought, so I'm supposed to like pass on and just leave my children in the world. And I was like, I don't know about that. And it made me think about why people feel like, no, this place is crazy. I don't want to bring children here. But I feel like you're doing that. You're creating something beautiful and vulnerable and precious in the midst of darkness. And so in this card, this person, you know, they're bleeding. The ground is bleeding. It is a very difficult success and victory. But I like it because the Six of Wands following the Moon card, and the Six of Wands here is Jupiter in Leo. Or no, yeah, Jupiter in Leo. But yeah, it's Jupiter in Leo, and I feel like it is a victory, it is expansion, it is creation, and it is a promise of victory. So if you are in a part where like the birthing process or the struggle, the challenge, the tunnel, the difficulty in your life right now, if it feels super heavy and you're a bit like, I don't know if I can, this reading, this Six of Wands is a promise to you that you can, and it's a promise to you that there is a victory on the other side. I want to clarify the Ace of Swords, and I'm feeling called to use the Afro-Brazilian Tarot to do that. Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, so this Ace of Swords is about a perspective or a truth that you have to hold, because it's the thing that's going to carry you through. So for me, in my healing process lately, I've been having to create mantras for myself to replace some of the core beliefs and like the anxiety and the programming that I have that can really kind of whip up a mental storm for me. So, you know, years ago I had to repeat to myself like, you are safe, you are loved, like, and I'd be walking through the train station just saying to myself internally, you're safe, you're loved, because that was the condition of like fear and lack of safety that I was in, that I needed, or that I felt I was in, that I needed to kind of rehabilitate myself through. And there is a similar perspective here, Cancer, that you do need a strongly held belief. You need single-mindedness. You need a single principle that you can hold on to, and let it be the Six of Wands, that you can and will be victorious. I feel like with the Two of Wands here, Mars in Aries, and I love these puddles in the underneath the stilts, I feel like you're spending a lot of time looking at the ripple effects, looking at how You may be overthinking things, like looking at how your actions are impacting everything or how someone else's actions are, or maybe trying to calculate your influence, your impact, particularly for you as a kind of like very powerful, emotionally driven sign. You may be frightened of like the extent of your feelings. And so I feel like there is this kind of like trying to look ahead or trying to see the impact, but I feel like your head is down and it's looking it's in the wrong direction. Like you're looking down instead of where you need to go. You can't be looking down on these stilts in the puddle. You really need to lift your head up. I'm hearing the gospel song. I lift up my eyes to the hills from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He said he would not suffer my foot to be moved. The Lord who healeth me, he something, 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 something. But it's actually a Psalms. So if you could type those lyrics in, you'll see the specific Psalms in the Bible. And that might be the Ace of Swords that you need. You might need to read that Psalms in the morning or before you go to bed at the end of the night, because the phrase or the mantra from that Psalms is my help comes from the Lord. And I feel like you need to lift your head. I think that's why that song came through, because you're looking downwards or you're studying your life at the moment, and that's not where your answers are. Your help is literally coming from above, and you need faith and confidence. So really the last 3 months of the year for you are about, I wouldn't necessarily even say completion, but it is about carrying this to full term. You know, seeing yourself as pregnant in some way and caring for this nurturing process. And I imagine for some pregnant people, it can be really, you know, anxiety inducing, and it can be worry and fear. And, you know, it can be a completely new experience. And so see yourself in that way, but really commit yourself to a single-minded truth. So what has this year made out of you? It has really lifted you out. As you can see, there's like this Eight of Wands is stairs emerging from the darkness, the person in this card. And I love how the fire sign cards have the lion on the shoulder, like the lion's head. I really like that about this deck. So you're emerging from the darkness. And I do feel it's really interesting because the moon would also represent that darkness, and then you have the sun card. So really you've gone through a lot of dark cycles. You've gone through a lot of very difficult, I'm not even that close to the airport. Hopefully you can still hear me. You've gone through a lot of really difficult, testing, trying times in life, but this year who you are and how you're presenting is as someone who is emerging from those patterns and cycles of darkness. I do want to emphasize the circles though, circle here, and circle here, and talking about kind of the non-linear progress that you are making. Okay, the stairs in this particular card are not like a ladder that just went straight up. It is not vertical, they're spiral. And so it can feel sometimes like and I know for me, I'm Cancer rising myself, and so obviously this is for Cancer Sun, Moon, Rising. It can feel almost like you're spiraling the drain sometimes. You know, like you're going around and you're like, yeah, this hurts again, or this is challenging again, or I'm concerned about this again, or you can feel like this spiral is like going down the drain, but it's not. You are being lifted here. The sun energy really speaks to the hopes, the dreams, the improvements, the brightness, the change, the increase that's coming in your life. And I also think it's why it matches this 10 of Materials card here, because what it is that this sun is what is fueling or growing this 10 of Materials. It's what's growing the connections, growing the physical and material abundance, growing the new experiences for you. It is literally bringing this into being, and I love it. I love to see it. I'm going to move these to the side a little. So then we can move across. Okay, so in these cards here, this is what you've been learning over 2021. You have the King of Swords, the Justice, and the Ten of Cups. I love the King of Swords here, particularly the King of Swords is actually holding a sword right here, and you have the Ace of Swords here. I feel like what it is that you have had to learn to wield that Ace of Swords. You have had to learn to have good and clear judgment and to really see beyond. You see how this king is sitting? I'll lift it for you. You see how the king is sitting in this kind of brick environment and then the sky is up here? I really feel like you've had to see beyond the brick, beyond the place that you're currently in. Even with the heart in the cage here, as most of the air sign cards have in this deck, I feel like for you it has been about moving from a place of more logic rather than being moved or swayed by your emotions. So I really feel like it's not that you're not in touch with your emotions or you're not feeling anything, but that you've been mastering the mental level of things as an aid or a tool to shape the knowing that comes from the feelings. Okay, so you've really got this King of Swords energy where you're in this space of, okay, what can I make out of my life? What can I make from my feelings? And what can I move toward? It is kind of futuristic here. And so I love that you also have the Justice card, Libra energy, of course. I want the Tiger's Eye. I do think the Justice energy matches the Moon energy, and it's because it's changeable is what I feel. Even though I'm Libra as cardinal, I feel this kind of very changeable energy where you've been weighing the scales of what has to come and what goes, and in what balance of things do you need. And I think, actually, to be honest, and I've been commending you every month I've read for you, but I do think that you have been finding a kind of internal equilibrium, and that equilibrium for you doesn't have to mean calm, Cancer. It doesn't have to mean that you're never distressed or you're never fearful, but I feel like what it is that you're learning the measure of things. You're learning the scale of things. Let me clarify. And really I should say have learned, because this is what the year has taught you. Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. I love it. So it's like you've grown from this baby here into this older person, this more experienced person, Nine of Pentacles. The project this year has been you. You have been the project. You are what you've been keeping in balance. And I feel like the Justice scales actually does speak to your experience. I feel like you've been trying new things. You've been putting yourself out there. You've been taking emotional risks. And I feel like every time you do something new or you move into a new space, you're recalibrating, adjustment, right? You're figuring out, you're getting information and you're developing. So you started out as this Page of Pentacles towards the beginning of the year, and now you're at this Knight of Pentacles energy where you're confidently striding forward. You know where you're going, and where you're going is the Ten of Cups. And I would say as well, Cancer, that I do feel that the Ten of Cups experiences that you're having excuse me, specifically drives and supports the Ten of Pentacles, because you having all the cups, you finding emotional safety, fulfillment, connection, family, love, even if this is your spirit family, you feeling seen, you having your feelings validated, you having your cup filled by others and yourself. All of this is like the water that you pour out onto the earth that is growing so much else in your life. And it isn't that to be honest, you're a very giving sign anyway, but you can become moody and resentful when you're giving from a place of lack. You'll still do the Ten of Pentacles, you'll still do this Ten of Materials, but once everyone is gathered around this tree, you'll stand outside of it and be like, well, nobody cared about whether I got a rose or not. Do you know what I mean? You'll provide it, and then you'll say, it's like the kind of unconditional mother archetype who then later on is like, well, I did all this for my kids and they didn't say thanks. But you're not doing that in your life right now, because actually this is coming from this. It's coming from the fullness, and you should participate in the source of love in your life. You should. So I love that for you. This is a lesson that you're learning, how to fill your own cup and how to have your cup filled by others, and where the cups are and what the cups are and in what measure, with the Justice card here. Hey beaus, thanks for taking the time to listen or to watch this reading. I
hope the messages I've shared here have been helpful and resonant for you. If you feel like it is connecting with what's happening in your life at the moment, then you can watch the full message on vimeo.com/on-demand/leonanicholeblack, and all the different zodiac readings are up there every month. If you feel like actually you could do some one-to-one support, come and see me and talk about your personal circumstances, then go to my website nicholeblack.com/shop, and you'll see options for personal readings there. And if what you really need is community and connection and being able to grow together with others, to learn, to share yourself, then check out House of Black. It's a space that I run. We have a beautiful community, super dope people, weekly activities, and you can see what we offer at patreon.com/leonanicholeblack. Thank you so much for being with me and for supporting my work.